Happy Saturday everyone, and welcome to another episode of Cooking with Tovia. Today I'm bringing you guys a very special video. This is part of a preview for my baking channel, The Sugary Sweet. So I'm bringing you guys a recipe I developed, and this is my no fuss cinnamon rolls. These are easy to make. They only require 1 hour rise time, and then after it rises you bake it. So this is super easy to make. They're soft, buttery, and they literally melt in your mouth, and they're also egg free. If you're looking for something that's dairy free, simply change the liquids from milk to water, and then you have a dairy free cinnamon roll that works perfectly. Please subscribe to Cooking with Tovia, where I upload videos on Mondays and Thursdays at midnight Eastern Standard Time. Please like this video, share this video, and add this to your playlist. And if you'd like to learn more about baking, please head over to my baking channel, The Sugary Sweet. So we're gonna go ahead and begin with today's demo. So these are no fuss cinnamon rolls, and that's exactly how this recipe is going to be. So I have here bread flour, and that's 2½ cups of that bread flour, and then I'm adding instant yeast. I'm not using active dry yeast. Instant yeast doesn't require a second rise, and you can use it instantly. So rapid rise, those type of yeast, and then I add the sugar. So I'm going to just mix that together. I'm intentionally using the paddle attachment. Please try to watch as much of this video as you can, because I might answer all of your questions. Okay, so I just wanted to just mix all that together. So to this, I have my oil. You can use sunflower oil, canola oil, vegetable oil, any type of neutral tasting oil. And then I have here my buttermilk, and that's at about 110 degrees. I warmed it up in small little intervals in my microwave. And then I have my vanilla extract. We're gonna mix this. Once this mixed together, okay, now we're gonna adjust the speed from low to medium, and we're gonna mix this for 2 minutes on medium-high speed. This will help build the gluten up so that way our bread, or our cinnamon roll rather, has a perfect exterior and interior. Okay, so it's been 2 minutes, and I let it go for 2 minutes exactly with the paddle attachment on. And I'm going to just remove all this dough off. And I'm going to add, I have a cup more of bread flour. We're going to knead this on the low speed. I might adjust it up and down to help assist mix everything together, but we want to knead it just until the dough begins to clean from the side of the bowl, meaning that the dough is actually going to clean the side of the bowls. And once you see that happen, then we know we've added enough flour as well. So we're going to start to mix this together. I'm just going to mix it until I can slowly turn up without my flour going all over the place. I would use my splash guard, but I want you guys to be able to see inside, and I don't want to keep pulling it off and on. Okay, so you see how this dough that's on the hook is beginning to clean the sides of the bowls here? So this is what we're looking for. It's starting to clean the sides of the bowl, but I'm going to add a little bit more flour because it's a little too, I can just look at it until it's still too sticky. Okay, so it's beginning to clean the sides of the bowl, but it's still sticking to the bottom quite a bit. So I'm going to clean, I'm going to rather scrape down my bowl here a bit, so that way we can just help the dough out a bit here before I add any additional flour. You can always put flour in, but you can't take it out, so you don't want to put in too much flour. So I'm just cleaning everything, scraping everything down. So I think I'm going to add about a couple tablespoons more flour.
I had to have a cup in there. So we're about 3 cups of flour plus a couple of tablespoons now. But you have to really go by feel. You can't really go by exact measurements when you are making any type of dough, because your environment is going to be different. Especially where you live. Your humidity and things like that can really affect the dough. So it's starting to clean this sides and the bottom of the bowl even more. I know that needs a little bit more flour. I'm going to add a little bit more flour at a time. Slowly just speed up this for a minute to help it combine together. Okay, so it's cleaning the bowl pretty good here, and it's not sticking so much. We got a little bit sticking, which is this is what we want. Still slightly sticking, but it's cleaning the bowl. So I'm going to lower the speed of my mixer here. I'm going to have it on speed number 2, and I'm going to let this knead for 5 minutes. So it's been 5 minutes, and I'm going to go ahead and just scrape this out of the machine now. And I just want to show you up close how sticky this dough is as well. It's not too sticky, but it's sticky. It's not leaving that much residue on my hands. See? Why? It's just a little bit. So this is what we want. This is perfect. Because it's still slightly sticky. This means we're going to have a very moist and tender, or I guess tender is the right word, cinnamon roll. It's going to be moist too. So I'm going to put some bench flour down. I'm using the same type of flour. And I'm going to remove my dough from the bowl. I'm going to knead it a couple of times. And then I'm going to just let this sit for about a minute or 2, and we're going to make our cinnamon mixture. This is my homemade brown sugar. You can find a recipe for that in the description box. There's a recipe demonstration and cinnamon, and I'm just mixing the two together. You can use a miniature whisk. I like cinnamon, so if you don't like that much cinnamon, you can adjust it, use less, but I prefer a really strong cinnamon flavor. So I have my rolling pin here. I'm going to dust that with some flour. And we're going to roll this out to about a 14-ish inch by 12-inch rectangle. So just be patient. Pick your rolling pin up, pick it up and roll it out. I got some cinnamon on my counter, so I have cinnamon spots all over my dough here. So just working from the middle and rolling outward. I'm going to pick it up, roll, push it up, and roll. And pick it up and give it a turn. If your dough starts to snap back on you, just cover it with plastic wrap and allow it to rest for about 10 to 15 minutes, and it is as it is on your counter. The plastic wrap will keep it from drying out, and when you let it rest for 10 to 15 minutes, it will relax the dough, making it easier to work with. And I'm gonna roll this, who's about 1/4 inch thick. So, never roll your rolling pin back and forth. Always pick it up. When you roll it back and forth, you're going to actually pull the dough in itself, and you're going to lose the actual shape that you're trying to achieve, because it'll shrink in. So I'm also going to, I keep lifting the dough. If it sticks a bit, I'm going to add some more flour to the counter. If it's sticking too much for me, I think it's okay. So I got some butter that's at room temperature. I'm using real butter, not margarine. And I'm going to just spread it over top of the dough here. And I'm going to leave about a 1/2 inch from the edges without any type of butter or anything on it. Then I have our brown sugar and cinnamon mixture here. Just spread it over. These cinnamon rolls are so easy to make because you don't have to be a chef, and you can have minimum baking knowledge or just the basic knowledge of how to measure your dry ingredients and wet ingredients, and that's really it. And if you follow this tutorial closely, you'll have perfect cinnamon rolls. So don't worry about it if some spots don't have even amount of cinnamon, because we're going to pour some cinnamon butter over this. We're going to take this to a whole new level, because that's just going to make it so soft, so gooey, and so delicious. And once these sit overnight, they're still going to be soft. So now what I'm going to do, just like a typical cinnamon roll, we're just going to spread some of that with more sugar here. There we go. Try to get it close to the edge as possible, but not really. I'm just moving fast for the sake of time. Okay, so I'm going to just begin to roll the cinnamon roll, and this is the part where you get to try to make everything as even as possible as far as shape. Now when you roll it, don't press down, because you don't want to press any air out and you don't want to lose the shape. Just being very careful with it. Now when we get to ends, just stretch it so that way it's the same shape. See? And then just roll. And gently. So what I'm going to do now is just turn it, and I'm going to try to press the seam in without really pressing it so hard. Just press the seam together here. Pull seam down. Then I have some thread, or you can use unflavored dental floss. And I'm going to show you how I'm going to cut the cinnamon. I'm going to start here at the end, and I'm going to trim just a little bit off using thread. What the thread does is keeps the cinnamon roll from getting smushed, and you'll have cleaner cuts. So I just have some ordinary sewing thread, and I just bring it under the cinnamon roll, and I'll just go here to this very end, close to the end, and you just pull it, and you have a clean cut. So this is what I'm discarding, and I think I'm gonna do, so we'll cut that in half. We're just gonna cut into even pieces. So you gotta do it, you just pull it as if you're about to tie your shoe. So make a loop. So I think I'm going to do about 12 cinnamon rolls, possibly. I'm going to divide them into 3 equal parts. Yep, so we're going to do 3. Let's divide it once more in half. So I have a 3. So we're going to just do this over and over. It's easier, if you haven't done this before, to just divide anything into equal parts. And then I have a 1/4 sheet pan here that I'm going to lay them on. And then space them apart. So here's the melted butter that's been chilled, and I mixed it with the cinnamon. You find the measurements for that in the description box. And I'm just going to pour just a little bit over the top of each one. Just pour it over all of them. This is going to make these cinnamon rolls extra special, because you're going to definitely taste the cinnamon. I'm going to take a bristle-tipped pastry brush, not the silicone ones, and just gently dab it in the cinnamon butter that's in the pan. Just gently paint the top of them. We want to make sure we get enough of this cinnamon butter on top of each one of these cinnamon rolls. So if you add too much flour to this, your dough will be very stiff and hard to work with. And also, if you don't let your dough rise properly, which we're about to let this rise, it only requires 1 rise. But if you don't let it rise for the amount of time it should rise, then when you go to bake it, you're going to have spots of dough that's going to be raw and that's not risen, and it's just not good. If your dough doesn't rise, that means your yeast was probably old, or your liquid was too hot. So it's important to make sure your liquid is not really above 120 Fahrenheit. I never go above 115. As an experienced baker, I just keep it at 110, 115, and I know that it's going to be perfect. So we're going to cover this with saran wrap. And we're going to let this sit here for 1 hour on the counter. If it's really cool in your environment, just stick it in the oven. Don't worry about turning it on. We use instant yeast, and instant yeast is pretty good at rising, and as long as you have the water at the right temperature. So I'm going to cover that now. Let this rise for 1 hour. Here is our cinnamon rolls. It's been 1 hour. I preheated my oven, and they're going to go in a preheated 350 Fahrenheit oven for exactly 20 to 25 minutes. So I'm going to check these exactly 20 minutes to see what they look like. If you don't have an oven thermometer, it's good to have one so you know that your temperature of your oven is accurate. Here is our cinnamon rolls. I took them out of the oven at about 17 minutes. I took the internal temp. They read about 194 degrees. So I took them out, put them on the rack. So I'm going to allow them to cool for about 45 minutes because we're going to put a glaze on top. If they're too hot, that glaze is not going to stick to it the way I want them to. So here I have my powdered sugar, and I'm going to add my vanilla, and that's pure vanilla extract, not imitation. And I'm going to mix that in. I'm going to slowly add my milk. I added about 1.5 tablespoons of milk. I'm going to whisk it. I want this to be thick, but I want it to be pourable, not too pourable. I want it to be like as smooth as and spread it. So if it's too runny, just add more powdered sugar. So I think we're about at the right consistency here. You see how thick that is? That's how thick we want it to be. So we're going to spread this on top of our cinnamon rolls. So we have our pan of cinnamon rolls here. And I'm just going to simply just drizzle a bit on top of each one. So after I pour out my glaze on, I'm going to spread it over. I'm going to make more glaze because I underestimated. But we'll see. So we're going to go ahead and try one of our cinnamon rolls here. Scoop them out. And should just look at how soft they are. I'll show you here in the pan, the side view. See how soft that is? Soft and squishy. It rises right back up. See how soft that is? So we're going to go ahead and give this a taste. Wow. Please try this recipe. Soft, buttery, cinnamon, everything you want in the cinnamon roll, I promise. Foolproof if you follow all directions. Add this video to your playlist. Please share it as much as you can and give me a thumbs up, comment down below. And thank you for watching The Sugar Sweet, where we're baking the world sweeter.